Hello, everybody. This is our third episode of Weston and Westeros. We've come way farther than I thought we ever would. I thought we might be a one and done, but we've actually gotten to 3 episodes, so I'm pretty happy about that. I'm Weston.
I'm Adam.
And we're going to break down the third episode of this season's Game of Thrones. Last week, obviously, Joffrey died in the Purple Wedding. If you didn't know that, you should not stop it right now and then go rewatch the episode, but still act surprised when he dies. But this week, the third week, we have like the Reign of Tommen starts. There's some really interesting scenes. I think they covered almost everybody. I don't think there was no Reek scene, there was no Bran scene, but I think everybody else was pretty well covered this episode. We're going to break that all down. We took notes. We got back from Culver's not too long ago.
Oh,
So good.
I'm so full.
Right. Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff at Culver's. That place is great.
I can't even. It's good.
Yeah. But, yeah, we still haven't heard from any of their executives. We're not getting sponsored yet or anything, so we're still kind of waiting for that.
I think we got to hit 50 views before we get 50, 60.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Consistent. So. We had a lot of views for episode 2, not as much as episode 1, but it came at a weird time. We were both, really stressed out with school and Easter and such. But now school's over. The weather's starting to turn to spring-ish, so we're pretty excited.
Perfect. Stay inside and listen to a podcast.
Right, yeah, because even though it's sunny and windy, a little windy out and kind of warm here, you should still really just sit inside and listen to us talk about last week's episode of Game of Thrones before you even think about going outside or being social at all.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to start with the week like we do every week and read my sister's Mary's corrections from the last episode. By the way, I give a little shout out to her. Today is her birthday, Friday, April 25th, in case you're listening to it at a different time. She turns a big 1-8 today. Super proud. I feel really old.
I'm going to go out. She's going to buy a carton. And she's gonna smoke them all.
Right.
That's gonna be great.
Mm-hmm. That's how most 18-year-olds celebrate their birthday. So so happy birthday to Mary. I know sometimes we pick on her because she's so fact-based that she read the books once and remembers everything.
Whereas, I read them twice and I remembered next to nothing.
Right.
I remember the big salient plot points, but Mary, she knows her stuff.
Right. And she would like to point out real quick that she does like Davos in the show, just not so much in the books. She doesn't want to sound heartless. I thought everybody liked Davos, but apparently she only does in the show, not so much in the books. So that explains why she bitched about Davos chapters. All right, without further ado, her corrections from last episode. She pointed out that Oberyn was always bi in the books. We thought he was never gay in the books, but I think that's because we projected ourselves onto Oberyn, and we're not bi or anything.
Oh, the psychology major strikes.
Yeah, so I think we were projecting how badass Oberyn was and everything. So I think that's why we didn't think he was gay. So that's not our fault, but it kind of is.
And just gay people can be very badass.
Oh yeah, we're not saying that. Yeah, we're not saying that. We're just saying we're astounded by how much we miss on Game of Thrones all the time. Luckily, my sister exists. So, also, Renly was always speculated to be gay, not just by, him, or from Martin in the books, but by people around him. We got that wrong. Stannis' wife is Selyse. I think we called her Elise or something. Yeah,
we did.
So her name's Selyse. She's from House Florent, which is the Foxes.
Yeah.
They're a minor house, but still important. I mean, she is kind of queen right now, depending on who you ask.
She's the ugly queen.
She's insane too, yeah. The old commander in the Night's Watch that Adam wanted to kill in his dream wedding is Jano Slint, which we should know. He's a pretty prominent character, but we missed that one too.
I really think I was just having a brain fart, though. Yeah. I probably could have remembered it the next day when it didn't matter anymore.
Right.
But
And on the last one we missed was we kept calling Sansa. She has a necklace in the TV show, but in the book we kept saying headdress or hairnet, but it was actually a hairnet, not a headdress. We got that wrong, but that's not because we didn't remember. I think it's because we're both guys, and we don't know what the difference is between a hairnet and a headdress, but my sister does.
I mean, obviously George R. R. Martin does too, but
right. Well, he gets around, so he probably like talks to a lot of women. And stuff.
Nice hairnet as he's like fingering his belly button and getting fed.
So I think that's we only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 errors. That's not bad.
For 40 minutes of podcasting.
A little more than one every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Not bad. I'll
take it, yeah.
Minor ones, too, for the most part. Names, like we miss like a letter in a name.
Right.
Who cares at that point, really?
Mm-hmm. And we asked people, we did our one of our segments last week of our dream Westeros wedding. We asked people what theirs were to come up with some ideas and stuff. My sister came up with a really good one. She said for hers, she would marry Jaqen Hagar.
Which is badass.
It would badass. That's sweet. Especially if you don't like what he looks like, he can change it. Doesn't fucking matter. Yeah.
And he could like fuck with you on like April Fool's Day.
Oh yeah.
He could be like Shrek.
Yeah.
Be like ah.
I mean, sometimes it could get scary, but I think you can keep it pretty cool. She'd marry him in the free cities. That's a good guess. Yeah, pretty nice weather, decent out. She'd like to have like in a mansion in Pentos, which is a nice pick.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that. Definitely some lemon cakes and honey fingers to be had at her wedding.
Bitches love lemon cakes.
Women love lemon cakes in Arby's. I've noticed in my
Arby's too?
Arby's, yeah,
nice.
That's not in Westeros yet, but
Smokehouse brisket coming back.
The smokehouse brisket is coming back. That's a funny. I had that probably probably over the winter.
It was a couple months.
Yeah,
ago,
that is the best sandwich that Arby's has ever sold. Go have that.
Yeah, and make you like. Weston was talking about the smokehouse brisket, and it sounded really good. And I got on the internet and I looked it up, and I guess this is how excited I was. I looked up like foodie reviews of it, and they were raving about it. So me and my girlfriend went there, and they didn't have it. Ooh. It was discontinued.
And all the pain he felt, I felt worse. Trust me. So
I immediately texted Weston. I was like, "What's going on, man? Like, are you fucking lying to me?"
And I'm like, "No, I had it like yesterday.
Yeah, recently.
Yeah." And then they got ready for the Reuben. I'm like, "What the fuck?" For
the Reuben. God.
You can get Reuben anywhere. You can't get a smokehouse brisket anywhere. It's just Arby's. But now it's back, so we can all go there and make amends.
All is good in the world.
Right.
I'm so full, but I want to go back to Culver.
Pretty soon we're gonna get free food from them, hopefully.
Yeah. I know.
Even if they send us like vouchers for like buy one get one free cheese curds, I'd be pretty psyched.
It'd be cool if we had like passes like on our necks, like a laminate. Where you just go and like flash the laminate
with a little ice cream mascot they have.
And all like the high schoolers that work there could be like, "Oh, Mr. Corbett, Mr. Knopfsinger, hi. Can we get you some cheese curds?" It's like, yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh, the last part of my sister's dream wedding, Ramsay Snow would die and Jaqen Hagar would kill him. Which is great, because everybody hates Ramsay Snow, and obviously her new man would be like a super assassin. So that's pretty sweet.
Jaqen Hagar is probably the most badass character in the Game of Thrones universe.
He's pretty, he's up there.
He's understated.
Yeah.
Because he's supposed to be, but he is just a total badass.
Right. And then my friend Norm, who actually came up with the idea of doing like a sillier segment instead of like just us bullshitting for 40 minutes. He said his wedding, he would want Dany, and she's ruthless and everything, but he would go with Ygritte, which is a good solid choice. You know, redhead, something a little different. She's wild.
Shags like a minx.
Right, yeah, in a cave. Cave sex is apparently just the best.
She was the first woman to ever be eaten out.
Right, yeah, Jon Snow invented that. She loved that shit. And then he said he doesn't know where you get married, but it wouldn't be in Westeros. That seems to be a theme that nobody wants to be married in Westeros.
I was thinking the same thing.
Because, like, we picked, I think both of us picked Dorne, but, like, I know that's part of the Westeros, the continent, but it's not part of the Seven Kingdoms, kind of, so...
Yeah, well, I mean, it is part of the Seven Kingdoms.
Right, but you know what I mean. It's not
Tywin was like, it's not the Seven Kingdoms until Dorne enters the fold.
No, I meant like, weather-wise. Yeah, it's not, like, it's like a desert when the rest of it's, like, England. That's what I meant. Apart. So before Mary starts taking notes and writing down how I was wrong, I meant, like, regionally, not, like, politically. Happy birthday!
Hear us out, okay? Like the whole thing.
And Norm would have Tywin killed. So that's a pretty good. I can see that. You know, he's kind of as I'm turning my notes, because we take notes during this now. So because our first podcast we didn't even talk about Jon Snow, He's like the most famous character in the entire show. We didn't even talk about him. So.
I can't believe he invented like eating girls out.
Right.
Like
he just
honestly, ladies, Jon Snow. Like, come on.
Right.
He's like, why'd you do that? He's like, I just wanted to kiss you. That.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know. I fucking felt like it.
It's like his instinct to be the least selfish lover ever.
He is like the guy who invented Coca-Cola. Like, he didn't know he was inventing Coca-Cola. He was just like, oh, I want to get this drink out there.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty delicious. Then he invented it, and the whole world's better for it. But yeah. So let's start with the episode. Really, like the first third of the episode was all about the aftermath of the Purple Wedding.
Yeah.
Joffrey died. Like, if you didn't know that, why are you listening to us? It doesn't make any sense. But
let's just assume people know that.
Mm-hmm. From now on, if you click on this link, we're gonna assume that you know what happens. If you don't watch the show and are just listening because you think we're hilarious, we really appreciate it. But if you want to avoid spoilers, that's how we put them out like after the episode comes out and everything. Obviously, because we're talking about the episode we watched.
And we marked pretty clearly what episode we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know that's going to build on from the last episodes.
Right.
So shut up.
All right. So the first 30 episode is the death of Joffrey. So we see Dantas getting Sansa out of there like really fucking quick.
Yeah.
Like world's wildest police videos quick out of there. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, for a big dude, he can move. Big drunk dude.
Yeah, he's drunk, but he can move really well. It's like he's a functional alcoholic pretty much at this point. Yeah.
Or he was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because also, not spoiler alert, he dies. Because Littlefinger is becoming the super evil douche we all thought he would be. And it's just, he's just getting so good. Stay tuned to Littlefinger. He's going to get even worse. He's going to get even more eviler.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he kills Dantos with a crossbow.
Because, that's
he was going to give him 10,000 gold, but he decided a crossbow would be cheaper and more effective.
Crossbows are badass, though, for real.
Yeah, they are.
They need to make a comeback. They need to make, like, machine gun crossbows.
My stepdad has a crossbow.
No way.
And it's laser-sighted.
Oh, shit.
Dude, it's fucking awesome.
What does he kill with that? Like, owls
deer.
or something?
I shot a deer with it.
No way.
It's an amazing feeling. Like,
it's killed.
Not.
How powerful? Did it take down the deer right away?
No. I hit it in the shoulder.
Oh.
So I had to track it, and it didn't die, so I never found it.
Oh, okay.
Which it was, I don't know how I missed. I was like right there, but I don't know. It's just shooting. It's fun. I could shoot at anything. It'd be fun.
Oh yeah, I believe it. Yeah. So
anyway, so
Dantas is dead. Yeah, he's dead. Crossbow in the face. Like yeah, he's in a boat drifting. Dead.
No, actually, it's like to the neck area.
Yeah,
it's like right here. Not to the
it was
face.
A kill shot. Unlike
Mary.
Yeah. unlike Adam, Littlefinger can do a kill shot.
Yeah.
So it's like,
from like 10 feet away.
Doesn't matter. Right. Yeah. But Littlefinger's gonna get way more evil. And we're starting to see that. Like, you always knew he was pretty evil. Like, when he fucked Ned over in season 1, you knew he was pretty evil.
Right.
So, and then another thing you notice about Littlefinger is obviously he was, like, a suitor to Catelyn way back in the day. Well, probably not too back in the day. Pretty much back in the day.
It was
like 2 decades ago.
Yeah, she was still living at home.
Right. So. She was still chilling. And, but he was all about Catelyn, and then obviously he didn't get her because she got Ned, and that worked out great for everyone until like last season. And then, so he's like, okay, I can't. Catelyn's dead. I didn't kill her, but fuck, I can't have her. What's the next big thing? Oh, Sansa, let's go after her. So he's like being all super creepy with Sansa. That's
Littlefinger.
God, I know. But sometimes they had like, you know how you know how The Office had those really awkward scenes that like you cut the awkwardness with a knife.
Yeah.
And it was just like, you felt uncomfortable watching that. That's like Littlefinger every time Sansa's around. Like every time he puts his arm on his shoulder, which should be such an innocent thing. I'm like, good lord, that guy's so fucking creepy.
He's just so slimy. I feel like everything he does is just coated with slime. So.
Yeah, he's a great character. He's also like an asshole. So, so then we go right from there. We go to another scene, and I like to read this text because it's Mary's birthday. I guess we're going to be really nice to her and talk about her a lot. And when Tommen talks to Tywin, his grandfather, by the way, about his only grandfather, I think. Well, kind of.
Well,
yeah. Kind of, because he doesn't have a father.
So. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But
Tom has a grandfather and a grandma on one side. I never really thought about it.
Yeah,
that way.
Isn't that fucked up?
Yeah, a little bit.
Just half the Christmas presents normal kids would get. But no,
kid.
Right. So Tommen's talking to his grandpa about being king now.
Right.
Yeah.
But we should mention this is right next to Joffrey's corpse.
Yeah. His just die. But apparently the Undertakers are awesome in Westeros because his face wasn't all purpley or scratched up or bloody and shit. Yeah, they cleaned him up pretty well.
Yeah.
They did the rock eyes thing, which is probably a throwback to ancient Egypt or some shit.
Yeah,
I'm not a historian, so
it's like Greece. They put quarters or not quarters, coins.
Coins.
They didn't have quarters.
Yeah.
Strictly speaking.
Yeah.
But they put coins on your eyes to pay the boat dude. River Styx.
Oh, River Styx, yeah.
What's his name?
I don't know.
Cherub?
Lady
Jordan.
of the morning. No, that's not the River Styx. That's the Styx. That's probably not even the words to the song. I just know the one part of it. No, but Tommen's talking to Tywin and what's a good king? And he gives a bunch of dumbass examples about what's a good king or not. And then Tywin always shoots him down. They're like, oh, just. And he's like, oh, yeah, justice? You think that's fucking important? No, let me have a historical example from 5 years ago, you dumbass.
It's like, that king was just, and he's dead.
Yeah, right?
Holiness, that king was holy, and he's dead.
It's like, strength, Robert was badass. He's dead.
And he's dead.
Goes drunk boar hunting, ruins everyone's life.
And then Tommen finally gets it. He's like, oh, well, wisdom. King's got to be wise.
And then Tywin totally plants the seed of, I'm going to basically be king of this whole thing by saying, you should always listen to your counselors, like me, the head counselor, until you're of age. And then even after that, you should listen to him. So, Tommen, guess what? I'm going to run your shit. Basically, that's how things are going to go.
And now I'm going to give you the birds and the bees.
Yeah. My sister had a great text. I'll read it. Watching GOT, that's abbreviated Game of Thrones. You have 160 characters. You have to make them count. LOL. Tywin's all like, so your bro just died, and you have 7 kingdoms to rule. This seems like the time and place to tell you where babies come from.
It's so funny.
It's so true, though.
And he's like walking him out of the set, and he's like, you're gonna have to extend the family line. He's like, do you know how that works?
He's like, it's pretty straightforward, and and then he leaves the room right when it was gonna get interesting.
I just wish he would have kept going.
Yeah, right.
You see your wife, she's gonna rub you in the wiener area, and then your wiener area is gonna get kind of stiff. Don't be alarmed, Tom. That's a normal reaction that little boys get when their wieners get rubbed by women.
And then he was
or men.
The best part, or if you're Oberyn, yeah. So, but the best part was right when he was starting to talk about the birds of the bees and stuff. Jamie walks in and he's like, "Hey, are you doing all right, Tom?" And Tom's like, "Yeah, I just have a lot of shit on my plate right now. My brother's dead. I just became king. And apparently, I'm going to learn about."
Sex.
Birds and the bees.
Like, all I want is a kitten so I can play with it. That's
right.
it.
Tommen in the books. All right, if you read the books, it's everybody's younger than they are in the books than they are in the show, just because a lot of the scenes wouldn't work. Like when Dany was married in the book, she wasn't a woman. She's like 14.
Yeah, they
couldn't really pull that. They couldn't do that on the show. No actress could be asked to do what she's doing at like 14 or whatever. Everybody's younger. Like Bran's like 5. Rob's like 14 or 15, something like that.
Yeah, Rob's that's weird to think about.
Mm-hmm.
But like Tommen, they could have casted him really young.
I think they just wanted. Impossible. I think they just wanted somebody a little older, so it was like more believable or something. Because remember that there was in the first 3 seasons, another guy played Tommen. He was younger, and he was way more childlike. And also in the books, Tommen's fat.
Yeah. So he's like a little pudgy fella.
And he loves his sister, who they ship off to dorm. So he's pretty broken heart about that. But he also loves cats. So like he's perfect for the internet. He's like overweight and likes cats. Yeah, but no, the internet's not invented yet. But I don't know. Maybe it's some weird timeline where the internet's never invented.
I picture him having like a Swedish accent.
All he wants is like some cats.
Oh, hello! Come here, Sir Pounds! Come here!
All he wants to have is some cats.
Oh, the kitty scratched me!
Because this kid never thought he'd be king, like, at all. And now he's king. And he's like, in the show, he's like, what, 14 or 15 or some shit?
Yeah, something like that.
So it's like, pretty soon they're going to have to pick. And Olenna kind of hints to Marjorie. She's like, you know, the Lannister and Tyrell alliance needs to be strong. So guess what you're probably going to do? So wait till next week. But, yeah, the Olenna scene was really great. I wish Mace would have came up and she would have been like, not now, Mace, again. They should do that every episode. You know how some movies do stuff after the credits? So some movies do stuff after the credits, have little scenes. They should just do that every time. I could watch that every day.
They should just throw it in at like a random point in every Olenna scene. Have Mace come up like either in the middle or at the end of the scene. He's like, not now. He's just every time like, no.
I want that to be my alarm, like where I'm sleeping, like just sleeping in my bed and it goes, not now, Mace. And I'd be like, oh, time to start the day. No, but that stuff that was great. That was just the best.
Yeah, it was awesome. Mm-hmm. I loved it.
Yeah, but Olenna's like, guess what? Seeing him die was pretty shitty. But, you know what else would have been shitty? Being married to him. And that would have been way shittier.
Which is kind of self-evident.
Right.
Really.
Mm-hmm. So, but then, the ending of the Joffrey Sepp scene, which we should talk about, because it's gotten a lot of controversy.
Yeah.
Is a little different. In the books, it was different because Jaime was not at the wedding. He was still off. The scene where he came home and, like, he was getting his arm cleaned up and getting a bath and trimmed up and everything. That didn't happen until after Joffrey's wedding and stuff. So he wasn't even there yet. So it was a little different in the show, but I mean, they kind of wrapped it up a little differently, which is, fine. They do stuff differently, but it doesn't really affect the main points, like the stuff me and Adam remember, not the stuff Mary remembers.
It all goes through George.
Right. So I mean,
it's all going to be good. It's all going to be solid.
Right.
They're just going to tweak it a little bit to fit TV, really.
Right.
Like, you can't. It's too big.
Yeah, and like what I said last week, sometimes I feel like George gets a do-over, and when he does the show over, sometimes he picks stuff that maybe he didn't like, or maybe after like 20 years since he wrote it, he wanted to change some things.
Right.
But so in the book scene, it's not Jaime coming in and talking to Cersei and everything, like how it took place. It was more like her brother / father of her children / lover coming home. It was much more consensual in the book. I mean, I think in the book it would have had less controversy. In the show, it was a little more, forced.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, we were watching. This is the second time I saw the episode. Mm-hmm. I don't really think it was as rapey as a lot of people think. Mm-hmm. I think she wasn't freaked out by it as much as she was by the setting.
Yeah, obviously. I think her son just died, and she's in her body's right next to there, and she wasn't. It's hard to explain. Like I read a couple articles this week. Martin mentioned it. He's like, sorry if I offend anybody, but it was a little different in the book. But he didn't want it to come out like this, even in the show. But it just kind of did.
Right.
So, but in all seriousness, though, I think I talked about this earlier with some of my friends. Martin, he made Westeros to be realistic. It is realistic. The hero doesn't win. If the hero won, Ned would have been king right now, and everything would have been happy after season 1. Mm-hmm. Nobody's parents would die. No kids would die like, the butcher's boy or anything like that. So he makes a real environment, a real setting, and sometimes bad things happen. Sometimes even somebody like Jaime, who's been with Cersei for years, force themselves on, and it's just part of the world that he made. So I mean, I see why people are mad and controversial, but I also like to point out real quick. We'll get back to being funny in a minute. Don't worry. But I also like to point out though that this is another thing I noticed about American viewers, especially. because I watch a lot of foreign films with my major in my undergrad, which was in German. And in German movies, violence is really, like, they don't like, it's kind of taboo. They don't really show it, but sexual stuff isn't so bad. And it seems to be the switch in America. I don't know if you want to.
I mean, that's just absolutely true.
Yeah.
It is. I don't have any specific examples right now, and we're talking about Game of Thrones.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely, it's switched.
Like Battle of Blackwater Bay, so many guys died. Like, there was an explosion that killed thousands of men, and I think the Hound split a guy in half.
Which is dope.
It was just sweet. Don't get us wrong. Like, we're all about that. We're in the perfect demographic for the show. But I'm surprised. It just shows, like, people's tastes and what they think, where that wasn't that big a deal, where he split a guy in half and all that violence. They've beheaded a ton of guys. They cut off people's heads. They've chopped out. They've gutted some people.
Right.
Really violent stuff. But this was the scene that finally broke the camel's back, I guess. I don't know. It's just kind of strange to me. I think another thing was because we did read the books. We came knowing how the scene was in the books.
Right. I could see, for people who haven't read the books, that would come as a pretty raw surprise.
Right.
And just to put it into perspective, this is a brother and sister fucking by their incest baby.
Yep.
Their incest baby's corpse.
Yeah.
So that is.
It's pretty. I'm not. Woo! I can. I know why.
Take a breather.
Yeah, I know why people think it's pretty bad, but I just think maybe I don't want to get all preachy. I don't want this podcast isn't for really social issues. Isn't really to examine where like things are and everything. But I just like to point out how that whole thing went down with the controversy and everything. So I'm pretty, when it comes to TV and stuff, I'm pretty open minded. So I wasn't really too offended by that. But I mean, a lot of people were. And that's just.
Yeah, to each his own. I mean,
right, yeah. If you don't want to watch the show anymore, I understand. Listen to this podcast, though, so you could, a hiccup, so you could listen to what happens and get a comedic take on it. But, all right, moving on from that, Joffrey's dead, blah, 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 blah. Tommen learns about storks. Let's go to the next scene. Is lucky because
babies come from your wiener. It may not look like a baby; it looks more like milk. Somehow a baby lives in there.
We'll go to like what the show uses and go to Sam and Gilly scene, which is good because the show kind of uses it for comedic relief because Sam's all dumpy and walks around and Gilly's all like.
Do I bore you, Sam?
Right.
It's like, obviously, you don't bore him. He's obviously in fucking love with you.
Right.
Like, why would you even say that?
With another incest baby, because there's so much of that in the show.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And none of them end up that bad.
Right. You think they have, like, flippers and some shit, but no, it's like, flip. No.
Did not hit those high notes tonight.
We both need some milk of the
Milk
poppy.
of the poppy.
Yeah, we're suffering pretty bad right now.
What I wouldn't do for some milk of the pepe. Poppy.
But Sam's trying to protect Gilly from like the men in the Night's Watch because they're pretty much, it's the Night's Watch.
And they are gonna be rapey. I mean,
yeah, they're scary because what is the Night's Watch used to be made up of like noblemen and knights and fighters, and now it's like people who are gonna get killed or have to join the Night's Watch, and they just chose to join the Night's Watch, and like a
lot of rapists,
right?
Like they're like thief, raper. They call them rapers, not rapists. They're like thief, raper, thief, raper, raper, thief. So
right, you might think this was a boring episode, but no, it was not. There was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of questions being asked and everything, but Sam's trying to protect Gilly. He's trying to get her a job, kind of at like this bar / Night's Watch whorehouse thing, and it's not. I mean, he's like she can cook and clean, blah blah blah, for like this one, and the owner's like, well, she can make a lot more money another way. She could do it if she wanted, maybe, possibly, maybe. And Sam's like, no, I have to protect her. Sam, I killed a White Walker, but nobody believes me. It's fucking shitty. But, so, Sam is trying to kill a White Walker. He did, but then he didn't, and nobody believes him. And now he's, like, sending her to this bar, hotel, brothel thing to, like, live with gross old ladies and stuff. But so that's what's happening at the Wall. They have like nobody to. The wildlings are super attacking the hell out of some people. Like they showed them like massacring a whole village and was like, "I'm gonna eat your family." Go tell Castle Black that,
Yeah,
like,
that was
right
the
now.
Fens.
Yeah,
the Fens are freaky.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
I gotta say, like, when I was reading the books,
Mhm.
I got the impression that they were like the really disciplined faction of the Wildlings, but I didn't really get the fear factor from them.
Yeah, they're terrifying. Yeah.
I think the show does a really good job.
Mhm.
Because I think the Fens are what the people in Westeros think of when they think of wildlings.
Mm.
They're cannibals.
Yeah.
They got freaky faces. They're really
Mhm.
savage. Like, I think they did a really good job with the show. I
Right.
driving that home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes they take the show and then they do stuff that I didn't think of and make it way better. So in some ways the show's better, but I don't know. In the books you get like not rapey Jamie or stuff like that. So it's like, you pick your poison. But so they're killing all of them, and Maester Aemon's like, we have like 100 guys. We have to defend the entire wall with like 100 dudes, and that counts me, and I'm blind as shit. So I don't know what you want to do, but I say we just stay here and like try to defend it. And then they obviously know they're kind of fucked. I mean, they have like no food, they have like no weapons, they have like no warriors, they have like no help. What do they have? Like black clothes. That's it. They're kind of like the Goths.
Pretty much.
Yeah, like nobody likes them and nobody hangs out with them, and they wear all black. They're like eyeliner away from like being true like real Goths. So
that'd be a funny parody if somebody did it.
Yeah, I'm sure South Park will next year.
Yeah,
they already did Game of Thrones, but they'll do more.
Get out of my room. Cold up here. I like it.
And then right from there, we went to the Hound and Arya. Had a really good scene together. All the scenes in the show are pretty good. This one was good because like they tricked me again into thinking something nice was gonna happen. They go to this farmer's house and he has his daughter when there's no mom around because like women die in Westeros all the time.
they drop like flies.
There's like no way. Like if there's like 4 women in the entire show.
Yeah.
So it's like But then they had Arya's there and she's like, "Oh, here's my dad, but it's really the Hound. He got all beat up in the war, and like, can we have like?" And the farmer's like, "Oh, did you fight for House Tully?" And she's like, "Oh yeah."
She thought of House Tully.
Yeah, she thought of it. Yeah,
gambled on it and won.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. So she
married.
So she's like, "Yeah, he fought for House Tully." And she's like, "Hey, my daughter makes some pretty ballin' rabbit stew. So she come." And they sat through the prayers, and the Hound was super rude the entire time. And Arya was like super funny. The scene, I don't know what it was. She's like, "It's pretty good." I don't know.
She like slurped it and then like stopped and like remembered her manners. It was like, it's really good.
Yeah,
like,
she was awesome. This is probably like one of my favorites. She was like just so funny, and like the Hound's so rude. He's just like such a not nice person. And what happened was the day after they were like, "Oh, you want to work here? Like fair wages, fair work."
At dinner. They were like that.
Yeah, and they were like fair wages, fair wages, fair work. And the Hound was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then the next day, he knocks the crap out of the guy.
Yeah.
And takes all of his money. And Arya's like, "You are the worst person ever." And he's like, "No, there are like 5 or 6 people worse than me." And she's like, "I don't know."
Yeah, I mean, just like the tickler. We all remember him.
Yep.
Basically, everyone in Westeros is worse than the Hound in some way.
The Hound's like, they're going to be dead in the winter. They're weak. Dead people don't need silver. I took it.
So I'm not really robbing them, technically.
And then Arya's like, "You don't know that." He's like, "I do know that. I'm not a bad person. I just understand the game of Thrones." So,
the Hound, he's like your quintessential realist. You know, he doesn't harbor any illusions about what the world is like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think after his brother like burned his face off, I mean, I'd be a realist too.
Right. He knows how things go, and he's just gonna do whatever it takes to survive, and he has to try to get Arya to somewhere not super dangerous for people trying to kill her the entire time. So they took off. So like, the Hound and Arya are like, I don't know, it's just probably the best pairing in the show so far. Like Sam and Jon when they were together was pretty great, but like Arya and the Hound's pretty good.
Yeah, they're kind of like the dynamic duo.
Right. And
there's been a lot of duos. You know, you had like Jaime and
Brienne.
Brienne. Yeah, brain fart. I knew that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Jon and Sam. Jorah and Dany.
Yep. So, the next scene was they went back to Dragonstone with Davos and Stannis and his daughter. And Mary likes Davos in the show, so she liked this scene, I'm guessing.
I just like how he says smuggler. He's like smuggler.
Couldn't nigget. But he was talking, and Stannis is like, hey, you remember that time, like, I took a leech filled with royal blood and burnt it and said I wish Joffrey would die, and then he died? Well, that was going great until, like, you let all my captives go and fuck up everything. And by all my captives, I mean, like, my nephew. So, thanks for doing that, by the way.
He was in skins.
So he's like, thanks for doing that. I really appreciate it. So then Davos was like, I'm going to go learn how to read right now, so I'm going to go away. And then he goes down in he's like reading the book. She's like, don't mouth the words, that's how children read. And then, you ever been to Bravos? And he's like, yeah, I've been to Bravos like 10 times. I almost died there like 4 times. What's your point? He's like, wait, I have a great idea. Then his face did that thing where the Grinch had a good idea, where like his smile went up like curled like 10 times. And he was like, write this to the Iron Bank of Bravos. And she's like, you should write it. It's good practice. And he's like, listen, this now is not the time to practice. We're fourth and goal. We need to punch it in for a touchdown and win this game.
And you don't fuck with the Iron Bank.
Right. They're like the Iron Bank. There's nothing to relate it to.
We were talking like the Iron Bank is kind of like one of those ultra powerful corporations that just owns like everything.
Yeah.
And it's like they're not a nation in themselves, but they're more powerful than individual nations.
Right.
Which is sweet. I think it's a really good kind of thing to have in the show.
So,
they were saying that every Iron Bank like gold ship or whatever is worth like half a kingdom.
Yeah.
So that's pretty dope.
They have so much money. But that stuff, that'll come back. We're not going to give anything away. We know what happens with this. You got to watch out because this letter is going to be important. Wink, wink.
Nudge, nudge.
So, but we'll go back to the next up. Then we had the Oberyn and Tywin scene.
Yeah, which
is great. Oberyn never lets you down, having a mega orgy in his room because it's a Tuesday and he's bored. So, and he was.
I wish Tywin would have been like, "Oh, what's the occasion?" He could be like, "Tuesday."
Yeah, right. Well, then they were like, they came in, and his paramour was doing the nasty. We're not going to get too graphic. Little kids listen to the show like my sister, so. But she was going at it. She was going at it, and there was like 3 other chicks that we don't know who their names are in there.
Right.
And then there was the blonde guy from the first episode, and Oberyn's like, I'm not gay, I just enjoy, you know.
I loved that scene. Yeah. I thought it was so cool, because it made Oberyn such a badass to me. Right. He like made everyone who isn't bisexual feel like an idiot. Like,
right. He's like, I'm not bi, I just enjoy everything. Which is like me saying, I'm not fat, I just enjoy food.
He's like,
you know?
God made this, and he points at the chicks, and he's like, and they delight me. And then he's like, God makes this, and he like slaps the guy's ass, and he's like, it delights me. He's like, before you're old and ugly, you better just do a lot of fucking.
Yeah, right.
A lot of fucking. Good for him. You know?
Right. No, he does. No, Oberyn's sweet, and then the fun Oberyn part of the scene was over, and Tywin showed up because he's a buzzkill.
He's like, can I join in? Is there room for a line?
Because he's like, hey, I got a great idea. We're putting together this jury, and I know you invented or like studied poisons at the Citadel because you're like the most interesting man in the world, and also like you gotta like try to become a maester, but then like you fucked too much and they kicked you out. And you tried to do a bunch of other cool things. But
did he try to become a maester? Is that
he just studied at the Citadel, I'm pretty sure. Mary will tell us next week. Yeah. But I think he was just studying.
I think he was trying to be. I can't see him being a maester.
He knew when he was like 10 years old, and he's like, I'm going to just be a fucking man and run this shit.
Yeah, like I'm going to be,
like
you said, the most interesting man in the world.
Right. But then Tywin's like, hey, we know you're like, could be a suspect in all this because you hate the Lannisters and you study poison. So how would you be on the jury with me and Mace? And then I wish Mace came up and like, yeah, be with us, and Tywin was like, not now, Mace. Kicked him out of the room. He's just like trying to kick him out of every scene. Like Mace Tyrell's like the head of this super powerful house, and we're just like degrading him to like the Kool-Aid man and Family Guy.
Well, I mean, even the actor he's like doughy and kind of like stupid looking, and just like
he looks like a Legend of Zelda character.
He kind of does.
Yeah, like he would like be a
Not now, Mace.
he kicks Mace out and everything, but
Just like, oh.
so Oberyn's on the jury for Tyrion's trial, and Tyrion had a great scene with Podrick where Podrick's like, hey, they offered me a bunch of money if I turned you in, but I didn't, and I could have gotten lands and become a Sir Podrick Payne, and Tyrion's like, you were super loyal, and I fucking love you for that.
And he's like, but then do it, because I can't have you getting killed on my account.
Right. So, like, Podrick's super cool.
Tyrion got really emotional. He
That
was
was
like, Podrick, I love you. He never said that, but I mean, it came across.
This
language.
episode had a lot of like people turning around and like tearing up and then leaving. Yeah.
A lot of like turn cry exits, like when Sam was talking to Gilly at the beginning, she like flustered him and he was like, no. Just like turned away, and then Podrick, Tyrion was like, this is farewell, Pod, and Potter's like, no. Like, turned that way.
Right. So that was a really great scene. Podrick and Tyrion have become quite the duo as well. Yeah. Well, then Tyrion also has Bronn. So, like, is that, like, Three's Company? I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be a little different, but, yeah, so. And then the last scene was Dany is with her army and the new Dario. And
Mista!
and she's like, we're bringing out our champion, and you have to kill him. Oh, by the way, he just pissed all over the ground. He doesn't. Yeah.
And like it's really cool. For one thing, Marine is an awesome looking city.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's huge. There's giant harpies with big harpy boobs, and the door opens, and it's a big door. Like you get a sense of how big it is when you see this dude come riding out.
Right.
And he's a big douche. He's on a horse. He's got a lance.
Yep.
And he jumps off his horse, and he's talking in Marinese. He's like, and then he pees. And he gets his, though.
Yeah. Then everybody's like, Khaleesi, let me fight for you. I'm Grey Worm. She's like, no, you're the head of my army, so you cannot fight me. And then Barristan's telling me, he's like, hey, I know I'm old, but I like won a lot of one-on-one combat.
More than anyone. Barristan's just like,
more than anyone. He's like, word up. And she's like, that's why I need you by my side. And then Jorah's like, let me fight for you. It'd be an honor. I would love to fight for you. And then she's like, you're like my best friend. You're like a brother to me. And he gets so friend zoned all the time.
His boner just wilts. He's like,
he's like, and she's like, you're just my best friend. And then like he should have been like, after that, yeah, I will die for you because I have nothing to live for.
Yeah, I've been there.
So, but then Dario's like, listen to this. My mom's like lowborn. I'm fucking like nothing. I'm a lowborn. Let me kill this dude. I didn't leave you for the Transporter franchise like the last season's Dario.
The fuck?
Yeah. I know he probably made more money, but I do like this Dario way more, and I think this scene really sealed it.
I still wouldn't say way more. Like, I respectfully disagree. I think Dario's, just his face, the old Dario, just looks like a killer. Like, he looks like a dude who would just kill you and keep on trucking. I think the new Dario is really cool, and this scene, like I said, solidified it for me.
He throws the knife. He just stands there like he knows what he's going to do.
Cool as a fucking cucumber.
He pulls out a knife, throws it at the horse, kills the fucking horse, and then the dude gets up off the horse, and he's like, NBD, and cuts off his head.
It's dope.
So,
and then Dario pees.
All over him. Yeah, it's just, and then they show up, and then Khaleesi gives a speech where nobody could have heard what she was saying. Not from, like, the 800 yards she was away from the wall. Yeah. She was like, and they're like, we can't hear you. And then Jorah, like, pulls out a megaphone. She's like, I don't need that. I'm just going to yell louder.
He's like, out of batteries.
He's like, I can't hear you. But, so.
They hear her, though.
Yeah, and they are pumped. They're like, okay, this bitch just killed like our champion with her champion, like no effort, no effort, and not even like her best soldier. Like Dario's a badass and everything, But
Barristan could take Dario.
I don't know who'd win on that fight, but
I think Barristan could take Dario. I think Dario could take just about anybody else, but I don't think anybody could beat Barristan until Barristan's like 10 years older than he is now.
Right. He looks old in the show, but he's not as old as I think. So
I think just the way he was written, like he is just a boss.
Right. But here's the segment I like to do this week, where we can ask people what they think of their opinion too. I've also not told Adam what we're gonna do. All right, so
I'm nervous.
Yeah, you have anybody. All right, Westeros, you're on trial for killing Joffrey. You're Tyrion or whatever, or you can insert yourself into Tyrion's role, whatever you want. Who would you have be your champion and why?
Ooh, I like this.
So okay,
I like this.
And they have to. All right, here's the thing though. Here's the kicker.
Janos Slint.
You can only use people who have been in the show so far. And I think Adam knows who I'm talking about. There's a couple people that come up in the book that would be really badass fighters. But you want to go first or you want me to go first?
I got to think for a couple seconds here.
This is what I would do. If I had one person, I'm going to beat a dead horse. I'm going to beat that horse to death. Bring it back to life. Thoros Samir is going to bring it back to life. And I'm going to beat it to death again. I would have Oberyn Martell fight for me.
Good.
The Red Viper, yeah.
I think that's a good choice.
He is like fucking Yoda, except he poisons his weapons and just kills the shit out of people. And here's the thing about Oberyn, like everybody else in Westeros is like, oh, my life's pretty good, but it's still pretty shitty. If I die, it's not a big deal. Oberyn loves living a lot.
He does. Yeah. But he also loves fighting, so it's crazy.
You think he would win all the time. So I would pick, he would be my champion. He would get me out of anything.
Yeah.
All right, so you could... If you want to say Oberyn too, that's fine, but the game can your backup.
I'm not going to pick Oberyn.
Okay.
He's good, but I don't think he's that... I think I'd pick Bronn.
Oh, shit. Yeah?
Because he doesn't care how he wins, he just cares that he wins.
And he was really impressive when he won for Tyrion back in, like, season 1?
Right,
when he was on trial. So that's good. Yeah, that's good.
I think he's a solid... I think he could beat absolutely anybody? Yes. I don't think he would every single time.
Let me throw this out there. Would he kill Jaime if his hand wasn't cut off?
I don't think he could consistently. I think he could conceivably do it, though.
So, like, 1 out of 100 upset.
I wouldn't say that far odds.
Okay.
I would say Jaime would probably have the edge.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be my champion, Jaime with 2 hands. But
I thought you might have
stick with Bronn.
Oh, that's good. I mean, Bronn's a great choice. Yeah. I thought you might go with Brienne because she beat Jaime kind of with his hands were tied, but
his hands were tied.
Yeah, it's like literally were tied. But then Jaime beat Ned, but then again, it was like he beat him up in like medieval grocery store. Like outdoors and everything, so...
I'd say he beat Ned, not really.
Well, he stabbed him in the leg.
No, he didn't.
Well...
One of his soldiers did.
Well...
They were in the middle of fighting.
No, they would have... Okay, I know...
They were fighting, and then Ned had his back turned, and the guy came up and stabbed him.
That's right.
Remember? And
Jamie take that, Mary.
And Mary. And Jaime was pissed because he was like, bro, man.
Oh, I remember now, yeah.
Me and...
Like last week,
I think he punched him or something.
Right.
I don't remember though. So.
Right. I'm full of Dayquil this week too. I'm not feeling the best, so I'm gonna chalk that up to not me remembering, but whatever. But I've watched the episode. I watch every season like twice, so I should know that. But Mary probably knows it. But okay, so the segment of this week is pick your champion. Anybody in the realm, you can pick. You know what? I'll give you. You can pick people who are dead. You could pick Robert Baratheon if you wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, if you cut at Robert Baratheon, you have to get through so many layers of fat to get to the important parts.
Exactly.
Like his spleen and his appendix and stuff.
Appendixes aren't that important.
They probably were when these people were living because they ate garbage.
We eat garbage.
Not literal garbage.
We probably eat less healthy than those people.
I don't know. Have you ever been to Flea Bottom? Marjorie
Have
has.
you ever been to Culver's?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, so send in your champion, anybody you can think of, why. Not you just can't pick somebody. This is like, you have to solve the problem and explain why. This isn't Math 101. This is Math 201.
We college kids. We need some critical thinking on this.
So pick your champion, say who would win. Give us give like his strengths, weaknesses. It could be a girl even. It could be Brienne. You could pick Arya with Needle if you wanted. I don't care.
I wouldn't recommend it.
This is your world. The Hound would be a good pick.
You know, I'd be impressed if some people like go way back and pick characters like Benjen Stark.
Right. Or Sir Duncan the Tall.
Sir Duncan the Tall,
mm-hmm.
yeah, absolutely.
If you really want to impress us, pick somebody we've never heard of. And, like, because it's me and Adam, you never know.
Yeah, and if you've read the books, yeah, send that in too, because we've read the books, so we'll, and Mary, talking to you, because I know you know things.
Yeah, right.
So there's probably some obscure character who has, like, a lightsaber that we forgot.
Right, yeah. We don't remember. Man, all right, so I think we got through the episode. We got through everything. We're at like
50 minutes,
50 minutes is pretty good.
It's record length. I think that's about perfect.
Yeah, I think it's about right. We want to, like, you have the whole week to listen to this. We're going to do the next one pretty quick turnaround, though, because school's over and the weather's better and, you know, everything. So, but yeah, thanks for listening to episode 3 of Weston and Westeros. We made it, guys. We did it. We do 3 episodes. We're down to the last 7 episodes, unfortunately. So
yeah, we love talking about it. So
yeah, obviously,
like, we'd be doing this even if we weren't recording it right now.
So, all right. Well, for this week's episode on Weston and Westeros, I'm Weston,
and I am Adam.
Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Woo!
Bye. Not now, Mace.